Okay, I just want to open this meeting. We'll be entering into executive session here momentarily, but first I just want to take a quick roll call to make sure we have a quorum. Can you take a roll call real quick?
Counselor Kathy Downer.
Kathy will be absent today, so we'll make sure we get her excused during regular session.
Counselor Dan Butler.
Here.
Counselor Vicky Lowe.
She is on Zoom.
Deputy Mayor Rachel Anderson.
Present.
Sorry. Mayor Brandon Janice.
Present.
Counselor Harmony Rudder.
Present.
And Counselor Tom Farrell.
And he'll be excused for this one. Okay, so as a quorum, so the city council will now meet in a closed executive session for a period of 30 minutes until 4:30 pursuant to RCW 42.30.1101B to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of increased price. The city council is expected to take final action in a public council meeting, and that regular session is scheduled to begin at 6 o'clock. And if we need to go a little bit later, I will come out and make that announcement. So at this time, we are at recess for our executive session. Okay, so this executive session was scheduled to end at 4:30. However, there is some additional time needed. Under RCW 42.30111B, the executive session, we're going to extend for an additional 5 minutes to end at 4:36. Okay, this is just acknowledgement that council is out of executive session and will be at recess till 4:45. Okay, I'm going to bring this meeting back to order. And again, the city council is going to go into the executive session for a period of 60 minutes until about 5:45 pursuant to RCW 42.30.1101G to evaluate the qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review the performance of a public employee. However, subject to RCW 42.30.1404, discussions by a governing body of salaries, wages, and other conditions of employment to be generally applied within the agency shall occur at a meeting open to the public. And when a governing body elects to take final action, hiring, setting a salary of an individual employee or class of employees, or discharging or disciplining an employee, that action shall be taken at a meeting open to the public. And City Council is expected to take final action in a public council meeting, which is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. So we are adjourned into an executive session until 5:45. Okay, just let everybody know that we are out of executive session, but we will be in recess until 6 o'clock when we will begin our regularly scheduled council meeting. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Sequim City Council to order. First, item number one, call Pledge of Allegiance. All right, and the city clerk can please take roll call.
Counselor Kathy Downer. Excused. Okay. Counselor Dan Butler.
Here.
Counselor Vicky Lowe. She is on. She's got her hand raised.
Okay.
She's attending virtually. Deputy Mayor Rachel Anderson.
Present.
Mayor Brandon Janice.
Present.
Counselor Harmony Rudder.
Here.
And Counselor Tom Farrell.
So for the record, Councilor Farrell has tendered his resignation effective immediately. And is there a motion to excuse Councilor Downer?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes to excuse Councilor Downer. All right, item 4, approval of the final agenda. Is there any changes to the final agenda? I will add an item under the consent agenda for a PBH letter of consent that everybody should have a copy of. Any objections to adding that item?
It's already on the agenda, I'm seeing.
PBH is not.
Yeah.
The OMS is, OMS,
PBH, yeah.
there should be 7.
Were you referring to the letters of support?
Yeah, there's OMC, but no PBH. There's 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm seeing PBH on mine.
I was going to ask because they weren't, I didn't see, I am probably still learning the digital system, but I wasn't able to access the letters before the meeting.
Oh, so this is
But I see paper copy right here, so thank you.
okay, my copy up here doesn't have, but it does on here. Okay, so disregard that. Any changes to consent agenda?
The 9C A open discussion. We're not prepared with that. The land acknowledgement tonight, our contact person at the tribe has not been available. So
Okay.
I'd like to just remove that from the agenda.
Anything on the other additions, subtractions from the agenda?
Excuse me, Council. Mayor, was Council going to make a motion regarding one of the executive sessions at this meeting?
I haven't got to that one yet.
Oh, sorry. I took.
And yeah, there will be, I'm going to add 8D will be a motion regarding the executive session, the first one regarding property purchase. Any objections? All right. Agenda is accepted as amended. All right, item 5, no ceremonial. Item 6, public comment. City Clerk.
The public comment sheet will be collected for those attending in person. Comments will be taken every other one from those attending virtually, by phone, or in person. For individuals attending in person, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. And for those attending virtually or by phone, if you would like to provide a public comment, please now press the raise your hand icon, or if on the phone, press *9. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak on any topic, and there will be a timer visible on the screen. A total of 30 minutes will be permitted to provide comment. Please state your name and if you are representing an organization. Again, for those of you virtual or on the phone, please now press the raise your hand icon or *9. Anthony, will you start us off with a virtual attendee?
Yes, tonight speaking first will be Mr. Jarvis. Mr. Jarvis, you may now address the council.
Thank you, Anthony. My name is Dale Jarvis, and I live on Lakeview Drive in Happy Valley. For community members who didn't catch the news in our 2 local newspapers last week, both chambers of our state legislature passed its 2024 supplemental budget that is now on the governor's desk awaiting signature. Included in this budget is $4.99 million for phase 1 of a state-of-the-art career technical education center that will be built in the city of Sequim. There is absolutely no question that this funding would not have happened if it weren't for the amazing support from our community, including a critical $250,000 pledge that was approved last year by the Sequim City Council. I want to thank the community. I want to especially thank the City Council. You did great work. It was a heavy lift. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more great things to come. Thank you.
All right, first in person, Vicky Maples.
Okay, thank you. Vicki Maples, Director of the 129th, excuse me, Sequim Irrigation Festival. And thank you for letting us be here tonight. Just 2 weeks ago, 4 of Sequim's brightest stars participated in the Sequim Irrigation Festival Royalty Scholarship Program. These 4 young folks will spend the next 12 months on a very most memorable journey representing the Sequim Irrigation Festival. At the conclusion of their reign, they will receive a scholarship, which is just a mere token of our appreciation for their time and energy. I'm very proud to congratulate Princess Sophia, Princess Ashlyn, and Princess Kyla, and to congratulate and introduce to you our 2024 Irrigation Festival Queen Araya. She's a sophomore at Sequim High School. She's an accomplished artist, and her platform from this year is the Humane Society.
Hello, I'm Queen Araya, and I'd like to invite you guys today to attend our Sequim Irrigation Float Rollout at Seven Cedars Casino, Saturday, March 23rd at 4:45 p.m. And you're also welcome to attend the dinner shortly after. This is a really great opportunity to see the float that will be representing Sequim throughout 14 parades all throughout Washington. Thank you.
Anthony, do we have anyone else online?
No, it does not look like anyone else.
Next in person is Jim Stauffer.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, and City staff. I'm Jim Stauffer. I wear several hats. First, I want to thank the city and staff, and I see Hannah over there, and Barb for the Sunshine Festival and the interaction with the Methodist Church. Very positive. Thank you always for that work, and the police. Thank you too, Chief. Next up, I'm also the president of the Sequim CISO City Association. Wanted to have a PowerPoint already for you, Mayor, but I was busy with the Sunshine Festival, so there's more work in there. Just as we here in Sequim faced many challenges with COVID, our sister city in Japan also faced a lot of those challenges. And we're working through those right now. We're exchanging letters. Also, Annette Hansen here, who was a long-standing member of the board, is here. But we're working through those challenges. Right now, we're just going to keep moving along with community relations. We work with Hannah again in the garden over there for park projects. Rachel, thank you for attending our meetings, and Maren, your city staff member also. So I will come to you at another time with a more formal presentation because we've crossed the 31-year mark and we're coming up on the 32nd year of this relationship. There's a display back behind you and then right here or some of that. And you'll see the committee out with at the various community events. Tomorrow afternoon, there's a meeting, 1:30. You're all welcome to attend. But thank you again for that positive relationship over the years.
Anthony, do we have anyone else online?
No one else asking to speak at this time.
All right, Jeff Nichols.
I am Jeff Nicholas. I'm the chairman of the Board of Commissioners for Clallam County Fire District 3. We've gone through a number of changes since the first of the year. I am now the chairman of our panel. And more importantly, we have just hired a new fire chief, which I'd like to introduce tonight, Justin Grider. And Justin is a great asset that we've added to the department. We're really excited about going forward and getting a lot of good community cooperation going on for what we do and what you do.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councilors, thank you for having me tonight. I'm really excited and hopeful for the future and what Clallam County Fire District 3 can work with the city of Sequim in the partnerships and collaborations as Chairman Nicholas talked about. Some of the new projects we're looking to roll out as a community paramedic to work with Sequim PD, Clallam County Sheriff's Office, the city as a whole, and the county. And the job functions of that will definitely take a load off of our career firefighters and volunteers that going out on a lot of these, we call them the pick-me-ups, and going out and to assess people at home and get them the right care at the right time for the right reasons sooner than having to take them to the hospital and tie up resources. I live in the city of Sequim. I am one of your constituents. I'm invested in this community. Both my kids have graduated, or one kid has graduated. The other one should graduate. I'll be watching him pretty closely. So he's a junior with you, with the school district here. We love this community, and I am excited for this opportunity and to partner, collaborate further. I appreciate the city manager reaching out. He's already set up some meetings, and we're getting ready to go and start talking about the future. And I'm really excited for the future, and it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Anthony, last call for anyone online.
No one else online.
And that concludes public comment.
All right, moving on to item number 7, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Anybody opposed? Oh, can you, city clerk, please read?
Items on the consent agenda, claim vouchers totaling $833,226.79. City council meeting minutes from February 26, 2024. The Hendrickson Park Plat Alteration recording. JST Sewer and Water Bill of Sale, a resolution. The Lodging Tax Advisory Committee minutes and grants. The seismic valve purchase. Olympic Medical Center's Community Funding Project, a letter of support. Peninsula Behavioral Health, 2nd Avenue and Oak Street Affordable Housing Project, a letter of support.
All right. There has been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Any opposed? All right. Seeing none, the motion passes. All right, moving on to item 8A under general business, community survey update.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Barbara Hanna, Communications and Marketing Director. As you all know, late last year, the City of Sequim conducted our first full-scale community survey in quite a while. We partnered with ETC Institute to do the survey. They are a professional research company. And the goal of the survey was to measure satisfaction with city services, customer satisfaction with city services, and also to help prioritize this is how we feel about things and this is what we think is important. So we, for tonight, our representative, our project manager from ETC Institute, Jason Morado, prepared a presentation for you. Jason is the Vice President and Director of Community Research for ETC. So hopefully you all had a chance to look at that. That presentation is a summary of the results from our in-city residents. So we had 506 respondents from in-city, which was well above the 300 that they were hoping for a statistically I can't say it, but statistically valid survey. We also had 122 respondents from our community members outside of the city limits that we allowed them to take that online. And the findings from those responses will be presented to you separately when you get the full report, which should hopefully be within, I'm going to say, a few days tentatively. We're still waiting for that. But Jason is with us today, and he's here to answer any questions that you might have about the survey or the results.
All right. Questions from council? Question?
Jason, thank you for such an excellent presentation. It was very easy to follow along, and yeah, I think that it definitely showed that the results show that there's some places that we should focus, but there's also a lot that we're doing well, and or things that are happening in the community that are going well. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions from council? Thoughts?
Brandon, I just want to agree with Harmony. Thank you, Mr. Morado. The presentation was really helpful, and we've been looking forward to the results from the survey, and very well explained. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see.
So if there are no questions, just when we get the full report, which should be shortly, it will have all of the results of the survey. It will have the comments, which we received a lot of just kind of open comments for you to look at. It has GIS maps for you to review, and then it will have the information from the county residents as well. So there's a lot of information for you to dive into. And if you have any questions about that as you go along, please let us know. We can check with Jason and make sure we get those questions answered.
And you're nodding my way. If I can just add to Barb's comments, I want to thank her for this enormous effort and success. I also wanted to just make sure I keep putting a plug in. There was one area that looked like a real opportunity, and I think it's perfect lead into the next thing on your agenda, which is a comp plan. I attended well, you'll hear from Sharice. This was all, the comp plan overview was reviewed at the Planning Commission last week, and they loved the connection of being able to see that the only thing that really the citizens had some questions about or concerns about was the growth, and we're not sure if they want more or less or whatever, but that's the point of the comp plan. So there's a direct correlation, or the timing couldn't be perfect to have heard from our residents while going into a 18-month process of planning for growth. So just wanted to make sure you tied that together. And again, speaking of timing, your retreat in a couple of weeks will be perfect time to discuss that. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
The
everyone.
report Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
The report that you say will come in a couple of weeks, is that what you've referred to, Matt, with the, it's web-based and there's ability to slice and dice the data?
So there is a software that we paid for, and that will be web-based, and you can, it's interactive, so you can slice it and dice it a lot of different ways. And we still haven't received that yet, and we're getting our own training as a senior management team in 2 weeks from Jason on that. I think it's going, well, I should probably leave it at that, but I think it's going to be available certainly for you all, but also I think for our residents. But I think you were talking about putting that on the web, but anyway.
Sorry, that's what I was planning to do unless there's any reason not to. The information I think is really interesting and just kind of a pulse on our community.
Excellent. Look forward to it.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone.
All right, moving on to item 8B, comprehensive plan update.
Greetings, Council. Charisse DeShanes, Deputy City Manager, Community and Economic Development Director. I'm here tonight to just talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan, but first I just wanted to confirm that you all had the opportunity to watch the presentation by our consultant, Bill Grimes. As Matt mentioned earlier, they attended our Planning Commission meeting last week and gave the kickoff presentation to them, and you received the same presentation with a little bit more information in your packet for City Council tonight. As you know, the comprehensive plan update is a long. We've been working on it for a while. It's been about 6 months or so since we started the kickoff and the RFP to try to find a consultant, and we went with SCJ Alliance. We've given you a kickoff and kind of an overview from the consultant team that came to town. And now we're starting to move on into the actual work. The next steps that we're really going to see coming along in the presentation was a schedule of what's happening. We're putting together a public participation plan, and that includes a number of community workshops that will happen over the next year or so. Recently, the legislature extended the timeline for the comprehensive plan and when it needs to be adopted. So with all the legislative updates that happened at the last session in 23 and then in 24, they decided to give us a little bit more time to get through all of the updates that came about with climate and housing. And so I believe Bill presented that in his presentation to let you know that there is that opportunity. But the next step is really finalizing our public participation plan. Part of the outreach that we had last week on Tuesday and Wednesday was that a stakeholder meeting. And so a number of stakeholder meetings, we spent a lot of time reaching out into the community and finding different people from different backgrounds. And what I mean by that is different organizations that represent our city. And the consultant team met one-on-one with a number of people. They had about 20 interviews and they have about 6 left this week that they're doing virtually. And that was a big kickoff because you can get into those one-on-one conversations to find out what's really important to people. And as expected, housing was a really big concern. That's one of the big focuses of the comprehensive plan as we move into the work. But I'm not going to keep rambling on. I want to know if you have any questions, because I know you're preparing for your council goals meeting. Everyone here is interested in the comprehensive plan, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to do a Q&A with me or to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from council?
If no questions, I would give you the opportunity if you wanted to meet with me one-on-one or have any questions leading up to that April 1st meeting. I'm happy to sit down and go into details with you individually at any time. So I'm happy to schedule those meetings as well.
And can I just put a plug in for Charisse? They've done a tremendous job creating a brand new website for it, which I think you've heard about, but all of the things have been broken out so clearly, schematically, tasks, timelines, what could be very complicated and difficult to kind of follow has been really beautifully presented in an understandable format, and I think it will continue to go like that. So I appreciate your leadership on that with the consultant. Thank you.
Thank you. Carmen?
Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say is for the benefit of the public, the website is squimagine.org. It's just brilliant. Good job with the name of the website. And I look forward to it being populated with more awesome content as this process unfolds. Squimagine.org. I mean, it's just cool. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a group effort for sure.
Anything else from council? Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, item 8C, counselor vacancy application process.
So as noted earlier tonight and highlighted in my agenda cover sheet, the City Council has a vacancy for position 7 to fill Tom Farrell's position. A couple key items I wanted to highlight from the agenda cover sheet, or one item that I did not put in there is that, I take that back. I noted that the vacancy has to be filled within 90 days. So 90 days from today is Sunday, June 9th. So that's the time frame that we need to have a new appointment in. And the term for this appointed position will expire in November of 2025 at the general election. Tonight, in the packet is the application and the proposed timeline. And tonight, the clerk's office is seeking direction from council on approval of the application and the timeline, and seeking 1 to 2 questions from council in preparation for the interviews. And I'm available for any questions.
Questions from council? Councilor Lowe?
I think if I read it right, the closing date is March 22nd. I'm concerned about having enough time to get people to apply for a position that was unopposed in the election. Does that seem like is that timeline right?
The process allows, should follow 3 meetings. So in order to track that timeline, it would be about a week and a half for applications to be received. And then that way they would be available and published in the agenda packet for the 25th meeting. And then at that meeting, council would go through the applications that have been received. Christine is getting my attention.
I am sorry, purposes of the record, Christina Nelson, Gross City Attorney. To go to your question, Vicki, council absolutely can extend that if they want. But the critical thing that I think that the acting clerk is trying to make is that it will still require 3 meetings. And so in order to facilitate that process, and our original understanding was council wanted to try to wrap this up sooner rather than later. So that's why the acting clerk came up with that timeline, but you can certainly extend that if you so choose. And the other option that council may have as well is should the deadline come, the clerk could come and report to you on that following Monday, and you could choose to extend the deadline at that time as well.
Thank you. I like that option, and I'm wondering what other councilors think.
Councilor Butler, yeah, thank you, Vicki and Christina. I'd prefer that we proceed with this timeline, knowing that we'll have a check-in on whatever that date is, 25th. Yep.
I agree too.
The other issue was, did we come prepared for questions that we want to have? I know that Councilor Lowe has submitted questions. Is there others that need to be submitted from other councilors?
Councilor Down are also submitted questions, and those went out in an email to you March 6th.
And to clarify, I only submitted some questions just to give some ideas about things I've seen in interviews. Those weren't my, I wasn't suggesting those as the questions.
All the suggestions that have come in have been excellent, in my opinion.
So just for clarity's sake, you're asking for those questions to be submitted by when?
We can have them submitted by March 22nd.
Okay.
And then that way they're ready for March 25th.
Right. So they're not going out with an application. It's the interview questions. This.
Correct.
Good. Thank you. That said, sooner is better than later, right? Okay.
Preferred.
Also, just curious, because I'd like to hear from council too. Is council more inclined to have everybody send in a question or two and ask all of those questions of each candidate? Or is council more inclined to send in a question or two and then we have like a consensus process to figure out which of those we are asking candidates? Because I don't think we've talked about that yet as a group.
That is correct.
You're reading my mind, Rachel. This is a, you didn't tell me you had mind reading skills. I was curious about our selection process for the questions also. That being said, the ones that have come in have been excellent. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about what's going to be our process, an amalgamation of all of them, an aggregation, and then whittling out ones that are repetitious, or we're going to vote on them, or
Because I'll just throw out and say, I would love to see council propose questions, but then also have a selection process of which questions we would like to see asked. One, because depending on how many candidates we have, it could take forever to ask, like 14 to 20 questions.
Yeah, that's not reasonable. No one wants to sit through that kind of interview.
Right. That being said, I'm also in the boat of it doesn't really matter how many questions we ask or how few questions we ask. We're not going to get a well-rounded snapshot of each candidate. Does that make sense? I'm thinking about like the interviews that I've had and just seeing that these questions that are being asked of me isn't giving the full picture of who I am as an individual. And so I just want to make sure people also understand that. And maybe it's coming out of way left field, but just thinking about if I was to go through the application process and trying to really pinpoint the questions that, how do I say it, that can have the most impact and find out, how can we find out the most from the fewest questions? Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Okay. What if we, I like some of the tools that we've been using to collaborate on making decisions for our council retreat. Maybe we could use a similar framework for ranking our favorites, like put all of them into this digital collaboration spaces as forms or whatever it is. And then we can, suggest which ones we think are most awesome, and then see where we all come out in consensus. That might be a good way, just a suggestion.
And curious to know too, how Brandon and Vicky and Dan, how you guys feel about that.
I'll go. I like the ranking the questions, and I think it's good to have a mix of questions that are like some just basic facts about people, but also how would you act in this situation to try and like piece together more of what Rachel's talking about, understanding what, what kind of a person they are and how they might work with us, what their goals are, those kinds of things. But I do like let's put our questions all together and just say, rank these 1 to 14 or whatever.
I like the idea of doing it and as little questions as possible, but the only thing I would say is how long will it take us to narrow down if we all send in a certain amount of questions? Can we, this will be for Christina, can the city clerk send out a poll prior to the council meeting and that we can rank them? Kind of like, say, if we are choosing a date for the council retreat, same idea. Is that something that we could do? So that way we're not sitting here for an entire council meeting going through one question with a vote, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that can be done. I think it would be helpful if perhaps you and I and Heather sat down to talk about that, but in what, just be very clear in what we mean by poll. And in terms, if you're talking about ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, we could do that. And then the clerk would have time to compile those in time for Monday's meeting based upon the ranking from council. Same caveats apply as you would anything else, right? Just the clerk. So
does that idea work for council?
Works for me.
So I would say that we need to make sure that when would you want questions submitted by to give you enough time to put them together however it needs to be.
See, I would say probably by, is next Wednesday fine?
That work
And
for
then
council?
So by the 20th for clarification.
Yes.
Okay.
And Heather, did you want to ask council if they wanted them as part of the packet, or how do you want to handle that?
Yes, council, do you want the questions as part of the packet? In that, if they go out in the packet, then they're public to the world. So it won't be like, when you come into a job interview, you don't know what you're going to be asked. So council should try to decide that. And if you want a cap on how many questions you want, because right now we have a pretty good list. So do you want 5 questions or 10 questions or 7? Those would be questions too.
Okay, I'll jump
for
right
clerk's
in.
direction.
Yeah. I think I'll jump right in and say that I am supportive of questions not being in the packet, but I'm not completely committed to that. So I could end up switching. And as far as questions, I feel like 5 is too few, but 10 is too many. So 7, I think, is a good number.
I think it would just depend on how many applicants we have.
I'm just wanting to chime in here. The Squim Arts Commission is currently in the middle of hiring or interviewing for new commissioners. And so I've been through 3 of those. We asked 10 questions and the interviews were, let's see, 40 minutes tops. Like, we got through really robust discussions and we probed and we asked the questions, and then they had time to ask us questions and there was dialogue. So I think the longest one was at 45 minutes, but we just had great conversation. And I feel like the shortest one was a half hour. So 10 questions, I think, would not be outside the scope of too many. Yeah, that's my perspective just coming out of the hiring or the interviewing process for an arts commissioner.
Vicky has her hand up.
Councilor Lowe?
I agree with Counselor Rutter, I think most of the interviews that I sit on, there's 8 to 10 questions, 35 to 45 minutes. I think we need at least that much time to kind of get to know the person a little bit. I know, as Rachel said, we're not going to find out everything, but I think we need to invest enough time into making sure we make a good decision.
I'd like to speak in favor of having the questions in the packet. Just different people approach these things differently, and it's here in public, and that can be intimidating enough than to be, especially for whoever the first person is, whatever order we take interviews in, is at a bit of a disadvantage, since the others listening to that session will have the advanced knowledge. So it's just, in my opinion, let's go ahead and publish them.
I think if we include it, we have to do that tonight if we're going to open the application tomorrow. So we would need to decide on questions.
Those questions won't be published with the application tomorrow. They will fall on the 25th.
So they'd be in the meeting packet, not the application
Correct.
packet. Okay.
Yes, thank you. That's what I intend.
Thoughts on that? I would agree with Councilor Butler on that.
I support that as well.
All right, okay, there's a majority on that one. You guys okay with that one? Okay. And are we okay on, let me check some here. On the other question, are we okay with the timeline and everything, right? Okay, so there is a motion in the packet. I think probably the second one we'll need to do, since we're.
Is it the second one? I don't think we're.
Well, I think
we're not amending the timeline that's proposed.
Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. I think okay.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Well, I'm just trying to think if we're adding the questions to the application, if we need to specify that.
It's my understanding that we're not adding questions to the application.
The questions are going to be published in the public or in the council packet for the end of March. That's what we decided.
The 25th
Yes.
meeting of the 25th, the interview questions will be in there. That packet.
All right, well, if there's a motion.
All right. I move to approve the application and selection process for filling the vacancy for City Council position number 7 as presented, and authorize the city clerk and communications director to publicize the vacancy.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passes. All right, moving on to item 8D in regards to our executive session on property. Is there any general discussion on this before I make a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion. I move to authorize the city manager to finalize negotiations, including signing a purchase and sale agreement for property acquisition for a future park, not to exceed the amounts discussed in the executive session, plus any additional usual and customary closing costs.
I second that.
All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passes. All right, item 9A, Youth Liaison Report.
Hello. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, the high school collaborated with the elementary school, and we had Read Around America. So high schoolers went and traveled to the elementary school during their class. They sacrificed a class period, and we read with elementary school students. This is very inspiring for a lot of kids, and we're trying to keep them reading throughout the years. So that was really cool. This past weekend, the high school Interact Club, in partnership with the Rotary Club, had Walk for Water, and that was very successful. We've raised around $3,000, and we currently still need around $2,000 to meet our goal for establishing a well in Ghana. We're still awaiting results from the survey about the changing bus routes. The school took it 2 weeks ago, as well as parents. It was sent out to their homes. And we are currently discussing tours for community members. These tours will help the community to see what areas may need improvement for the school and help community members know what it's actually like to go to Scwim High School.
All right, I'm just going to slide this way. So just a brief update on Scwim High School clubs. Our robotics club placed 8th in districts, and they're waiting to hear back whether or not they're going to go to state or not. HOSA, a Future Health Professionals Club, and Knowledgeable are both also going to state. So all of our clubs at Scwim High School are thriving. So also the Scwim high schooler seniors have been flocking lately. So if you guys see any pink flamingos in your yard, that it's a fundraiser for the Scwim grad party, which is a party that happens after graduation. It's fun. It's run by parents. And it's just to make sure that all the seniors are safe, sober, and just where their parents know where they are. It's usually really successful. Usually a car gets given away there as an incentive to stay at the place, stay safe, maybe get a free car. Yeah. So that's pretty much it that's been going on Scwim High School. Yeah.
Questions?
Yes, I have a question. Tell me more about being flocked. So what does it mean when a business or a house gets flocked? Does that mean yeah, I mean, like, what I was going to say is, do they have to make, is the idea there to help the flamingos keep flying? You pay into the party, or that was, I've never asked that question, and I've lived here for almost I've lived here for 5 years. So it's been I've always wanted to ask.
So the idea is the flamingos are a plague. The flamingos have arrived at your house and you don't want them here. So you pay money to get them to go away. And so to this year, our suggested donation is $35. And you can also pay money to get your friends flocked or your frenemies. And so you pay, or just enemies. So you pay money to send this plague to your friends is the idea.
Great. Cool. So that's what I thought was happening, and it is happening. So that's adorable. Thank you for the update and the official explanation. And food for thought. Thank you.
Okay, so Harmony lives up. Just kidding.
My kids would think that would be very funny. Yeah. But oh my gosh. Here. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. City manager report.
Thank you. Let me get this pulled over here so I can thank you, Mayor and Council. A couple of items tonight from the city manager's office. You've probably seen in the paper or heard both Port Townsend and Port Angeles are getting ready to prepare a state of the city report for their council and residents. And I wanted you to know that we're doing the same here. That should be complete mid-April, so about 6 weeks. We're putting that together right now, but happy to share that with you individually or as a group. But it's really exciting to be able to report all the positive things happening here and share that with our residents. From our communications team at Barb's here. So she let me know that from the Sunshine Festival guest book, we had over 1,100 people sign in to the market there. 16% of them were not from the Sequim or Port Angeles area, so from out of the area. And she's heard from different business owners in town that they saw a remarkable increase in business. So that is working as a tourism action like we'd hoped, particularly Holiday Inn, Quality Inn, Black Bear. They all said that they were packed. So nice to know that. And we haven't heard, I've heard a lot of positive comments, but we haven't heard back from the CERT team, which was trying to get a count for the drone program. But I have heard from a lot of residents that have pets that they sure like that better than the fireworks. So dogs aren't running away. So anyway, that was a really great show. If you were there or if you didn't see it, it was wonderful. From our Department of Community Development and Planning. So last Tuesday, the comp plan leadership, I believe his name's Bill Grimes and Aaron Mercar, they were both here for 2 days up in the community development rooms, conference rooms, and they had back-to-back meetings with community stakeholders. So they met with leadership from the chamber, from the county. We had 2 commissioners over here from economic development offices, some of our businesses, the library, et cetera, et cetera. So they had both of them interviewing throughout both days back to back. So they said they got a lot of really great input and were able to explain what they were about and whatnot. I just wanted to let you know, if you go back to the task timelines, they're starting. So it's on a roll. And I think I also wanted you to know that it looks like we'll be bringing to you an interlocal agreement from regarding our hazardous mitigation plan with the county, perhaps the next meeting. So that's up and coming. From the HR department, excited to let you know that we filled the position vacated recently by Mark, who was our fleet asset and facilities manager, with one of our own internal hire, Matt Shackelford, applied for that and was welcomed into that position this last week. A great resource for us there. So I think he starts in a week or so. Also, the HR posted for an engineer intern, getting some kids, some students a chance to get some real hands-on experience with Nick and his team. And we just recently posted that and already have 2 candidates for that. So we hope that by the end of that, we'll have some great folks to interview and bring to the city. And I don't know if you would know about this or not. So, we're doing Tyler, the enterprise-wide Tyler software system for finance and DCD and whatnot. HR's module goes live this month, and that's going to be an online payroll system and time card system. So big lift, catching up, welcome to the 90s, but it will be really great for our poor staff. I think I may have told you last time, our payroll manager, I guess that's his title. I said, so what's this going to mean for you? And he says, something that has typically taken me 3 days will now take me 2 hours. So rah for software, right? Anyway, yeah. From our police department, a couple things. They're preparing for an on-site accreditation next month. I think you saw probably several really good articles in the paper, Gazette, relative to Chief Crane retirement and Mike's, what do we call that? Promotion or induction. Yeah, exactly. We also have 2 new officers that have recently started, and so that's kind of filling out the officer vacancy. So I'm really excited. And with Sherry's retirement, Mike's promotion, lots of action that I'll try to bring to you, kind of just becomes a musical chairs in the ranks of the 20 officers that we have. So I met with Mike today for over an hour. I said, we really need to take a snapshot of where the department was a year ago and where it's going to be, in a month, because I think it's going to affect, 50% of the staff there. Very exciting, actually. And finally, from Public Works, they recently applied for a $40,000 grant to the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, for paving a path to the band shell. They also received a level 1 Arboretum award from ARB Net Arboretum Accreditation Program. And I love our city because it takes trees seriously and that whole thing. And we're working on creating our own internal certified arboretist. So that's exciting to have access to that. Lastly, I did want to read this note from Megan. She received an email from the Transportation Improvement Board. I think maybe you used to work with them, Rachel. They're an independent state agency that funds high priority transportation projects in various communities throughout the state. They funded our 2018 West First Street project, as well as the $1 million, that was a $3 million project, and the $1 million North Squim Bay bike lane and sidewalk project. So these guys know Squim. They're having one of their board meetings here in Squim out at the Holiday Inn on Thursday, the 21st, and Friday, the 22nd. And they have asked, Mayor, if you can make it. If not, then a representative possible. If not, then somebody from the city, or Public Works can help there. But they're just looking for a 5 to 10 minute welcome to the board with recommendations of areas to go to, places to eat, et cetera. That's at 2 p.m. We'll be there at kickoff. Public Works.
What was the date on that again?
21st, Thursday the 21st. And the next day, Public Works will be giving a short presentation on the past, current, and future projects that the city either has used or will be applying for funding from this group. They've been really supportive of SQUIM. So let me know, Mayor, if you can attend that, or if somebody else would like to do that. If not, we'll fill in. But
I'll be at work that day, so somebody else is able to.
I'm able to.
Okay.
Okay, that'd be great. And
Yeah.
we can help you with some of that. And I believe that's everything from me tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, open council discussion. Anybody have anything?
Just a super quick, the Sunshine Festival was a blast. And I am just so grateful for all of our staff and our police department and the CERT team and all the volunteers that we had. Everybody just really gave it 110%, and it was very obvious, and it was amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, go, please.
Also about the Sunshine Festival, I was sitting at the booth trying to get people to sign the welcome book for about 3 hours. So the number that we have is way higher than, or the amount of people that were actually there is way higher than what we have on the guest book. So a lot of people showed up, and it was way better weather than last year. It wasn't a blizzard.
Yeah. Also on Sunshine Festival, I brought my scarf today. I was wearing it around City Hall, but it's too warm in here for me right now, so I'm not wearing it. But this rainbow spirit came with me. The color run was really fun. Thank you, everyone, for all the awesome work you did. Yeah, there at the end, I mean, I saw staff and you, Rachel, you put in so much work. Bravo. Thank you. And it really was just an excellent community celebration. some folks said, wow, why doesn't it happen like more closer to spring? But I don't think, I really think it fits an important part in our schedule as a community. Yeah, it is cold. It did snow on the Sun Fun Color Run, people, as we walked across, or ran, shuffled, in my case, shuffle across the finish line. But yeah, no, it's important to get out there in this kickoff march with something really fun. Yeah, thank you.
All right, there is one thing that I do have. So earlier I received an email from, well, if it was forwarded to me from Sherry Tinker, who is the executive director of Sarge's Place, and they're asking for a letter of support. It came in kind of late, so I need to ask council permission to sign a letter of support because it looks like it's due by March 18th. So I'll just read part of this email. It says, I'm writing today with a rather urgent request. Our agency is applying for a Representative Kilmer appropriation request for 2025. We would like to buy a house in Sequim, remodel it, and create women veteran housing. So we're requesting a letter of support, which is due with the application by March 18th. And they did submit a sample letter. Dan, I can read it if you would like. I'll have the city clerk forward that to everybody as well. But is there any objection to providing a letter of support for them?
Can you read the letter of support, please?
Yeah. This is just, like I said, I don't know if this will be the exact one, but this is just what they put in the email. I'm writing today in support of the Women Veteran Housing Project proposed by Sarge's Veteran Support to be located in Sequim, Washington. Sequim is a city filled with retired veterans, and there is a growing concern about aging veterans and their supported care there. Sarge's Veteran Support is currently finishing Minsky Place in Sequim, which is for elderly male veterans. The goal of SVS is to create a sister house for the elderly female veterans currently struggling to find rent-appropriate housing that has case management attached. It is here that the veterans will be able to age gracefully in place and have caregivers come when necessary. There simply is not enough housing for veterans who can do for themselves in our region, and there is no other project like this specifically for female veterans on the Olympic Peninsula. Sarge's Veteran Support has a long history of creating veteran-specific programs that engage case management with those most in need, supporting less crisis-affecting our ERs and first responders' connection with resources, engagement with medical and mental health care, as well as long-term solutions to housing within our regions. I support Sarge's Veteran Support and their mission to create housing specifically for women veterans in Sequim, and we hope you will as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I support it. Big thumbs up.
Are we okay with that? All right, thank you. And that's all I have. Anything else from council for open discussion?
I have one more thing. A member of the community has approached me and made a suggestion for a facilitated public event series. And they are suggesting, looking for the city of Sequim as a partner, as a collaborator on this. And I will forward you their proposal. The proposed name of the series would be Democracy Dialogues. And I can forward the content to the counselors through Heather. Yes, thank you. So yeah, if you guys could take a look at that, I would love to discuss it further in an upcoming council session. Or thank you.
Anything else from council? If not, it's that time of the hour.
A motion to adjourn.
There's one more item on the agenda.
Oh, wait. The attendance at the mayor's agenda. Yes.
Who wants to be
Good
next?
catch, Vicky.
Vicky dragging it out.
Also, quick reminder that
volunteering though. Sorry.
It usually ends up being either Dan or Kathy. Vicky, I don't know what your schedule's looking like, but there is a chance that Kathy's not here, and there's a chance she might want to go. So
I don't think she did reach out to me. So unless any of the other ones want to attend the next one, I can reach out to Kathy.
I can only attend if it's on a
already
Monday.
have 2 meetings. Sorry. I
Okay,
already
I'll
have
reach
2 meetings at that time.
now I motion to adjourn.
And I second that emotion. Or
right,
not
get out of here.
emotion, excuse me. I second that motion. Haha.
All right, we're adjourned.
Thank you.